people want to read and are inspired by, many ways to obtain knowledge. And I suspect, Ram, that you're going to offer our audience something a little more original, old, dated. And without further ado, I would like you to speak to our audience this evening. So welcome.
Good evening, everybody. I really enjoy whenever I get chance to join the Harmony House Insight session. And so today I know that there was talk that you have to talk about the internal, external, because we are faced with the external situations all the time, and especially with the problem with the COVID-19. And actually, I was in India for 6 weeks, and I came back from there May 5th. From 20th of March to May 5th, I was in India. And at that time, it was the peak of the coronavirus in India. It was really spreading like fire all over. And everybody got affected. And at that time, too, there was a feeling that these are all external situations. And now, external situations I cannot change. Whatever is happening outside, I cannot change. But what I can change is myself. That when we say external situations are becoming more and more bigger and powerful, so that means what I can do is making myself more powerful. Or another way, my capacity start to grow as the external situations grow. So the thought was coming in my mind that even as um, we human beings exist. See, like there is atmospheric pressure on every human being. We are approximately faced with about 2 tons of the pressure per square total body. Can you believe 2 tons can be put on your head, and what will happen to you? Totally crushed. But we will not. But how come we don't crush? What's the reason? The reason is because there is external pressure of the air, atmospheric pressure, but within our body also has the fear. The air inside, and that as the external forces are working on the body, pushing the body inside, the internal air push it outside, and they are in perfect balance. So we don't feel anything. Take an example of a fish. Like we cannot go inside the ocean because we will be crushed with the weight of the water. The maximum people have been able to go the ships with all the, I mean the, whatever the things go inside. Maximum they have reached to 1 mile, and still it is like a concrete pressure of concrete is on them. But how come the fish does not have any effect? The fish lives of the same thing. The fish are filled with water inside. So there is that critical balance between the external and internal. And here we talk about we have external pressure of the situations, circumstances. But what is the one energy that balances it? That is inside out energy. And what is inside out? That when we think of the internal body, but within that internal body, we talk about is the soul. It's the soul energy which makes the internal, all the organs, and they are working with inside out approach. And we are able to counterbalance all the situations and circumstances. So it is not that I just deal with the pressure, one pressure, another pressure, but actually, like being an engineer, I could share that When we design a building, we have dead load, the concrete load. Then we have live load of people and the things and the offices. And then we have wind load. We have seismic load. Then we have impact load, sudden load. All of a sudden, something comes up. Nobody expect. You can just drop a big file cabinet. So that's a sudden impact. So all those loads are coming on the floor of the building. But when we design, we don't design for each individual, but we design the building with the more than required, with the safety factor, the bearing capacity, that what load it can take. If the total load is say 100 pounds per square foot, we designed it for 200 pounds per square foot. So this way, no matter how much load comes, but I am able to handle it. Once I am able to handle it, it's not load anymore for me. That means there is no stress and strain. So same thing I find with our understanding how the external forces work and how the internal forces work. We are all of us, we are very much aware of the external situations, circumstances, the current economical, political, spiritual, uh, family. There are so many there are pressures coming onto us, but we have one inside out energy, and that's the soul energy. And when we talk about soul, what is the soul? Soul energy, what that is? The soul energy is combination of the energy of love, energy of happiness, energy of peace, energy of caring, energy of truth, energy of motivation, energy of having internal mission in my life. So that is where I want to move out, because they're all being generated within the soul, and then it uses the body to accomplish that task. And we don't feel that, just like when we understand it's the soul that operates through the body. It is the soul that puts the life in the body. It is the soul that generates the energy with which the body works. And then I don't feel anything. Just for an example, I am 180 pounds, my weight. Just imagine if I have to carry 180 pounds. Can we carry 180 pounds all the time? But how come we don't feel it? Because it's the soul energy. The soul energy, 180 pounds is nothing. I can walk, I can say hello to anybody, I can shake hands in no time. I can run. So, how that is? Because the soul puts the energy in the body. Many times I have shared this thought that you're coming home totally tired and exhausted. You know the limit of your physical energy in the body. And when you're coming home, you're thinking that I will just rest, I won't do anything. But someone very close to you, your little one, is waiting for you, and will say, Mom, Dad, could you please, feeling so happy to see you, but could you do this thing for me? It will take you only 2 hours. And what you say, oh my God, how I will do it. But
Do.
to make other person happy, you start to do that. And whilst you are doing that work, you see the smile on the child's face, you feel happy, and you accomplish that task. And then you are not even tired. We all have that kind of experience in our life. Now, question is, I was totally exhausted. Where the energy come from? 2 hours worth of energy. It's the physical energy. And can we say that is the energy of love? Love generates energy in the body. When we are happy, we can sleep 4 hours and we are full of energy. And when we are sad or depressed, We can sleep
Can't
8 to
sleep.
10 hours, still we are tired and lethargic in the morning. So, can we say happiness generates energy in the body? So, this is how I have lived the life of spirituality based on engineering principles. So, engineering principles don't apply only on the body or the physical energy, but the engineering principles apply on the spiritual energy too, because we have combination of both physical and spiritual energy. I could be doing good actions, but if I'm doing with anger, so that means there are two things, two components. What is what I did, and the other is how I did it, my feelings behind it, and combined together becomes the total impact. And whatever is the total impact, the reaction or the response comes accordingly. If I have done something good, but I did with anger or arrogance or while putting other people down, the value of my good action will be reduced. Or I can do less good action, but I can fill it with feelings, feelings of love, the care, the humility, and good wishes. The value of my action gets increased tremendously.
Yeah. So can I ask them? This is a big shift from thinking that life experience or whatever's happening out there is putting the pressure on us. This is a total quantum shift into my having control. And I was just talking to someone today about how we can say the exact same words with a different emotion, with a different power, and we can absolutely create in ourselves that calm before we open our mouth. But if I'm coming with anger, it's not going to serve me at all.
Exactly. See.
That's beautiful. That's such a beautiful concept to apply all the engineering principles
Yeah.
to our spiritual life. Once again, I'm in
Yeah.
awe.
Yeah. See.
Beautiful analogy.
Yeah. See that you could see we all have limited energy, energy of the body, energy of the wealth, energy of time. We all have limited energy and nothing we can do about it. I cannot just jump to my, if I'm making $100,000, I start to make $200,000. I cannot, or whatever energy I have. So that means, but what I can work on is the soul energy, the spiritual energy. That means the love, the kindness, the joy, the care. That comes free. And in fact, the more I use them, the more they increase. If I give money to somebody, it will get reduced. But if I make somebody happy, my happiness increases. So that is also engineering principle, but this is the engineering principle of reverse entropy. Physical energy is governed by the law of reduction, law of losses. But the spiritual energy is a reverse entropy. That means the more we use, the more it increases. And I know, Lucy, you are talking about my experience of the World Trade Center. Yeah, and I could share, like, as you had asked me, that I can share that I was in that World Trade Center on 64th floor, and plane hit our building first, and then we started to come down, and the second plane came and hit the second building, and the second building collapsed first, and then we had to change our stairs because all the debris from the collapsing blocked our stairs. So then we are coming down, all of a sudden water start to come in our stairs because the pipelines were broken. And then we have to hold on to handrail to come down slowly. And then we found out even our second stairs have been broken from underneath because of the water or other situations. And then we had to take the third stairs, and we had to go through total dark, and water falling on the top, water um, um, uh, ankle high, and in the dark, in the water situation where all the wires hanging on top of us. So just bending down, and ultimately in the dark we come out. And we came out within 4 or 5 minutes, our building started collapse. We had to literally run from there. But now, lots of time when people were asking me about my experience, they were sharing with me that you were 95 minutes in the tower and you came out only 5 minutes before it collapsed. You must have gone through the fear of death, that you will not make it. And I look back again and again into my that situation. I cannot recall even a second of fear in myself. And that is where I started to think, what could be the reason I did not have the fear? Only thing I could think of was because I started helping other people. So that means my inside energy of the kindness and the love and the compassion. I started to give encouragement to people, and also I was determined that I around all the people around me, I want to make sure that they are also coming with me. So whenever there will be little sound and there will be a kind of scream, the woman working over there, and they will scream with fear and they are behind me, I will just step back and bring them in front of me and saying, we are all together. Don't worry. Have faith in the higher being and everything will be okay. And actually, that is how they told me, Ram, you are our angel. And I was in a kind of happy shock that, wow, becoming an angel is very easy. Just go 2 steps behind and become an angel. But actually, that made me think again that if people called me an angel, I did not call myself an angel. For me, it was a very small thing. I see somebody in fear, and I just want to give them that kind of courage, that kind of faith, and bringing them in close so that they know that if something happens to them, I'm there to help them. Just that kind of feelings, nothing else. They never needed my physical help, but it's just a moral support. And that turned me an angel. Then when I felt that what is the definition of an angel? In other words, what is the simplified definition of an angel? And what I found was angel is the one who comes out of nowhere and help wherever the help is needed selflessly. And when they are done their job, they fly away. They don't stop back to receive the praise. They don't stop back to have the gifts. People will be showering them with the gifts. But if they start to collect the gifts, they will become heavy. The weight of the gifts, they won't be able to fly. So that means that this is how I found that in the time of crisis, my inner love for the humanity, the compassion, the mercy or the faith, whatever coming from inside out approach, that will bring a lot and lot of comfort in my surrounding. The fear will be gone, the courage will come, uncertainty will be gone, the faith will kick in. So all our internal energies actually get a chance to emerge from inside because that's our DNA. Being children of God, we carry God's DNA, and God's DNA is of love, compassion, happiness, peace, and being a child, that is my DNA. But our DNA is kind of dormant, like a seed is dormant, but when it's put into the ground, it slowly expands and turn into a tree. So the entire tree is merged in the seed, but the seed is dormant when it's outside. So same way, we have the DNA, but it is dormant. But meditation, the feeling of I am a soul, this is my body, and then I am child of God who is supreme soul. all of a sudden the DNA opens up and start to flourish. It start to turn into tree. It start to show its value, that how much is moist in the seed. So when we talk about the meditation, that is what it does. It really brings out all what is inside, hidden, waiting to be coming. Actually, it is crying to come out. Many, many times there are so many moments you are feeling so happy, so loving, so caring, and you feel, I wish people know me really what I am inside. And the external situations actually create that kind of movement where my inside energy has a chance to come out. And that is how I also started to feel that angel. We think of angels as big, big angels who are famous and they have done something magical. And we think, oh, we are nothing. We are not close to that. We are just simple, ordinary human beings. But that is what it is. Okay, I am an ordinary human being. I am a little guy. So they are big angels. They do big things. And I can become a little guy, little angel. I can become a minor angel, like a child angel, or go even deeper. I can become like a micro angel, like a particle in the whole universe. We are like particles. So if I can become particle angel, and wherever I am, people are able to feel the courage, the love, the care, the help, the compassion. So then I can live the life of an angel. So this is how I saw. And another thing was in my mind, when Luis was talking about my 7 billion acts of goodness, the thought was, how come I survived? I lost 10 colleagues in my office. And when I was going to funeral for them, and I could see the condition of the family, and I was saying, I could have died. Why did I survive? Now, there is no justification. So, what should I say? Even there is a subtle guilt, survival guilt. When you say, I survived, other died. So, I promise to myself that if I also consider myself to be dead, so what would have happened? Supposing I had died, then people must have talked about, somebody must have had that experience who survived, that there was a person called Ram and he helped all of us, but he died. So he's a dead angel. But in my case, I did not die. So is it a possible that I can become a living angel? So that means my life is not my life anymore. I have also died, but now this life has been given to me by God, by nature. So if I use the rest of my life only for the humanity, only for the world, not for my own self, then even God can justify that why he lived, because this is not his life anymore. Hence, I wanted to do something big to prove that there is a reason why I survived. I wanted to do something big. And this came along that there was an article in Time magazine, Happiness is Contagious, which you were talking about, contagious. And they gave the example of flu. And now even bigger example is the COVID, that one person get a flu, so many people get flu from that person. It's contagious. They say actually the same thing happens to happiness. When one person is happy, they make 3, 4 people happy without any reason. Then those 3 4 people, they spread to 15 16 people, then 25 30 people, then they say up to 4 layers they can even measure it. Whatever tools they have to measure the happiness, the level of happiness, they could. But after that it fades away, but it continues. It is just like that. You throw a pebble in a pond, it creates those waves, and
Ripples.
they go further and further, and they don't stop until they reach to the shore.
Mm.
That means any action, good action I do, anything I spread happiness, it will keep on just creating that vibrations up to the end of the universe. So that means you keep on creating, it is becoming contagious. That means actually you are making the world a world of happiness. So this is how that this thing came up, how the happiness comes in us. And we have seen in our life, happiness does not come from money, even though we think. Think about it. Happiness does not come from the status. They come, but they are only temporary. They are not, after a while, it becomes all kind of normal. A president, after a while, become normal. Then they are also dealing with their emotion, their own anger, their own disappointments and everything. I have seen rich people when they are sick, at that time, doesn't matter how rich they are, they have to deal with their own sickness. So they are human being at that time. So there is nothing like big and small. But the thing is that if I can generate happiness, and that comes from when I am able to, my DNA opens up, when my internal energy of love, the care, the compassion, that is where the real thing comes. So this is how we started to see, if a terrorist, one act of terror can shake the whole world, why not an act of goodness? Because when we have the care and compassion in us, then we do good action. Good action means, question is, what is the definition of good action? Good action is what I do above and beyond what I am supposed to do, and with out of care and compassion, selfless, but extra. If I'm making $100,000, let me work for 110,000, then 10,000 becomes act of goodness. So that means doing something extra, and that extra whatever I do, it becomes part of the atomic, the way the atomic energy works. A little extra particles, fraction, which gets spared when they split and then join together, some energy is released, and that turn into nuclear energy, and the conversion factor is E is equal to mc square, c equal to the speed of light and square of that. So much enormous energy is created. Same way, whatever extra I do in my life, extra patience, extra tolerance, extra love, extra acceptance, something little bit more than what I already had been doing, that little extra will do wonders. It will create, it will become part of creating that explosion of goodness and happiness. So when I talk about like volcanic, what is volcanic? Internal pressure keeps on increasing, the heat keeps on increasing, and finally it is eruption, volcanic eruption of love and happiness, which will spread all over the world, creating tsunami. Like with the little good action, keep on creating the waves. The waves keep on going bigger and bigger and bigger, and then they become so high, it brings the tsunami of goodness and happiness in the world. And that is what we say, we can actually become instruments of bringing the love and kindness and happiness and goodness in the world. And that is what people call it heaven, the paradise. How many times people talk about paradise? How many times? But they're only talking. It looks like a dream. It looks like kind of things to laugh, but never thinking that something is possible. And we know it's just like a magic, but one is fake magic, but one is the real magic, and that's called the magic, the God's magic. Higher beings is magic, which is a practical magic. So practically, we can turn our negative into positive from inside out approach. So that the thought was, once it reaches the critical mass, that as we say, you keep on throwing the pebbles of goodness and they keep on generating the waves and waves and waves. So maybe when a critical mass will be reached, then the explosion will happen. And maybe that could be there are 7 billion people. Still, there are 7 billion. They're close to 8 billion, but still up to 2023. So maybe we have one more year to just create that wave of 7,000 good actions collectively we can perform. Maybe we can bring about the change in the world of joy, the world of goodness and happiness. And that is how I see our inside energy working on ourselves and
Mm.
also on the world.
Before you go any further, I just want to, excuse me, I want to remind the audience that you're welcome to put any questions or comments you have in the chat or the Q&A. And about 1:45, we're going to stop and entertain any comments or questions. So Rama, you're going to be changing the name of 7 billion acts of goodness to 8 billion soon. I think the world population is 7.9 at the moment.
Actually, they were saying that actually the growth of numbers have reduced now. So now they are saying that actually they are close to, actually they are not 7.9, they are more like maybe 7.85 or whatever. It has not reached to 7.9 yet. But the number of growth, so they think it's like 2024 or something. That become, so we still have three years. And
Okay.
then in the meantime, we will then create a 2.0, and that will be act of goodness is chain reaction of goodness and happiness, but we can also call it blueprint of building heaven. So that means when we talk about the building, heaven is not only just the beautiful gardens and beautiful palaces and the kings and queens and not living like a life of abundance, but heaven means harmony in relationship. We have so much love for each other, the joy. So that means when I'm thinking of the physical aspect of the heaven, I am thinking of the spiritual aspect of heaven. That means I have to be building love, building peace, building happiness, building bridges between two different shores, I mean, different opinions, different countries, different cultures. So it's a matter of building, like just building like your bank account. So what you do, you keep on putting extra, take out less. So that means you're putting something extra. So you keep, when you are putting extra, so your the bank account start to get built. So every act of goodness becomes like a building block. So block by block, then we can turn the whole world into heaven. And this is where the impossible turning into possible. It is possible because now um, we are have been introduced with the spiritual energy. So that means, like I shared, spiritual energy increases when I use it. So that is the fundamental difference. And also, when the spiritual energy changes into physical energy, it is millions and zillion exponential impact. See, when we really talk about, many times we think the higher being, God, will build heaven, that he will create heaven. But it's not. God is incorporeal. The light, God is light. And the nature does not have the power. But I, the human being, represent both. The body is made of the nature, the five elements of nature, and the soul, child of God. So combining those two forces together, then I can do wonders. So this is how the possibility of the blueprint, like in being an engineer, we do the blueprint that we give system, from this world of pain and sorrow and problem to the world of happiness. So what is that a distance we have to travel, a task we have to accomplish, and that is a magic, but it's a practical applied magic, the applied magic of spirituality that will generate energy in the body, in the nature. The love will just overwhelm anything what comes in the way. That's how we say love
Yeah.
can move the mountains, and
Mhm.
love can really melt a stone.
I think a very simple example of what you're talking about, when the pandemic was relatively new, one of the news feeds that I'd squint at in the morning once a week came out with 5 acts of kindness.
Mhm.
And what you're talking about is, for me, the feeling I had reading, and it was crashing. It was like in the face of the pandemic, with the whole world scared. You could read about a puppy that saved the life of a goldfish or something. And
Absolutely.
and you would I was transported in my pajamas, sitting in
Mhm.
front of the computer in the morning, to
Mhm.
exactly that higher self. So for those in the audience who are thinking this is not accessible,
Mhm.
we know it, and that's why I love what you're talking about, because it is self-empowerment. It is what humans can do that maybe animals can't, other
I will
species.
share a personal story take
Yeah,
me 2 minutes.
that's okay.
That my because I was stuck in India in a room with my family, and this time I was able to my close family. I was able to share a lot about this act of goodness, and actually it had happened. My brother's wife got very sick with the COVID. She was 45 days in the hospital, and but she survived. And after about 5 6 months, actually, when I was around, my nephew, my brother's son, was in near Delhi, and he got sick. His wife got sick, and their daughter was also sick. And now, who will cook? They cannot. They are totally exhausted. No energy. So he went through lot and lot of difficulties, and then some friend, they helped him, and then when he was cured, now he's thinking that how much help he needed when he was sick. He wanted to help other people. He say the biggest problem they felt was who will cook food and take care of, because no workers are coming, no help will come to their house to do anything. Everything you have to do, and you have no energy. Then he said, I am going to distribute food. I will cook food and give it to the poor people. And he shared this thought with some people, friends, but he did not get very good response. So he was disappointed. But then he got two people. They were looking for food so desperately. So his wife cooked that, and he delivered that 2 meals to two people. Next day, 10, 12 people, they demanded. So they started to cook, him and his wife. And little by little, 25, 30 people started to demand. And now his friends started to join him. And then it became 25, 50, 100. And now I was listening. Now they are giving like 200, 250 meals every day. And
Wow.
they kept some cooks. They do deliveries, and whenever they are short of people, then they deliver themselves and all that. And he was sharing his experience. He was saying, uncle, that when I used to get tired doing 8 hours work, my job, but now I am putting about 15, 16 hours, and we don't get tired. And when we go to the people, people even cry with love and joy. that we are giving them timely help. And then I asked him how much one meal costs. Because I always talk about small acts of goodness, smallest of denominator. And he say, it cost me 90 rupees or say $1.50. So that means, then I said, people can then do one act, 90 rupees. Then I started to share that with my family, my close family. I told even the little girls, I say, you can donate 10 meals and that will cost you $15. But it's not that you just take it from your parents and give, but you have to work for it. In other words, you will help the parents in doing something, some chores in the house, and then they will give you that $15 for your work. That is what you will donate the meals with. So in other words, anybody can do it. Okay, you don't have the money, you can do work. So that means, or if you don't, if you're physically you're not doing good, you have more patience, more love, words of kindness, giving moral support, any type of goodness we can do. So this is how I can see it flares up. They're feeling so happy. I share sometime, I say, wow, that act of goodness which I really shared with them, and that is the result. I felt so happy that it became a practical. Now even I can say I was not only talking about act of goodness, but I actually participated in making like that. They have done about maybe 4 or 5 thousand meals already, and they want to see at least 10,000 meals they want to do. Now you could see our small act of goodness. His 2 meals first day, but now 10,000 meals. So this is how the goodness can flare up too, as the COVID can flare. So that is where I was saying, rather than feeling the fear, let me my DNA of courage, the uncertainty turning into faith, faith in goodness. So that's what I want to share. If there are any questions or something, then share.
Okay, let's take a look. Thank you, Ram. Uh, Dan says, love, love, love Brother Ram and the way he explains things. He makes everything relatable in practical terms and experiences. Yes, that's very, very true. I'm just so impressed with everything you've said and the power. It takes so much energy. I'll go back to you saying you were you had survivor guilt. You could have had survivor guilt, and it takes so much energy, negative energy, to stay there and to just define yourself and lead the rest of your life. And what a drag. But
it would
in
have
being
been
proactive, in being, you say, that's not me, that's not wrong.
yeah.
And I have to turn that around. And you don't have time for survivor guilt.
Yeah.
You're busy.
Exactly. So that means, like even in this case, he did not, rather than his mother, his wife, himself, he could have been so much fear. But the fear and the courage, they meet at the same point. Now it's all up to me. Do I go towards the fear or do I go towards the courage? It's a split second sometime. They meet at the same point. Without fear, you don't need courage. You need courage show up only when there is fear. Otherwise, it remains dormant in us. The faith remains dormant unless there is uncertainty. Like in this case, faith means faith in good karmas. Like I know good karmas can never go unrewarded. Even in the world present time, they say no good deed goes unpunished. You get punished for the good karmas. But in the bigger picture, in the absolute equation of karma, no good action can go unrewarded. But it might take time. There is a saying, like negative forces, they work with much, much more speed. I was somewhere, somebody had quoted in the book or something that lies, they travel with the speed of light. When people are lies spread, they go far and wide with the light of speed, and the truth is just limping behind it. Speed travel with the limping speed, and the lies go with the light speed, speed of light.
Beautiful.
All the negative things. So, courage and the fear. Fear will spread. That's how fear sells. But courage limps behind it. So,
Mm,
but having the faith that my good actions will never be unrewarded, but it could be different time, different situation. Like I just a quick, I want to share. When I was in America, my mother had taken this path of spirituality, myself too, but other family member were against. I was always kind of concerned about her, that she will not be getting good treatment from the family. So what I did, I started helping old mothers in New York, like bring the food for them. I will bring them to the center, or whatever little help they needed, I will providing them, and thinking that this help what I am giving to these old mothers, they will reach to my mother. Somebody over there will be helping my mother. And actually that is what happened. My same brother that I'm talking about, for 5 years he kept my mother like an angel.
mm,
Every morning she will get up for 4 o'clock meditation. He will get up with him, and he will make the chai and then sit down and talk to her for 45 minutes. See, now he said it gave me so much love and like courage of doing something good. Then I told him that this is how I used to do. Now you could see good actions can never go unrewarded, but it could be different place. Like I helped over here, but the help came to my mother from different place, different person, different situations. So that is how we have to learn with in the time of COVID. The real healing comes from doing something good to your family. Like you are together, your all chances are, whilst we are happy with each other living together, we also have the tendency to find some weakness about others. Oh, I never knew you are so lazy. I never knew you are so much useless. I did not know that you have this weakness. You are so careless, you are so dirty, and all kind of things. Now, all these things can come in within the family, but is it possible? I can make a list of all the good things, because you are going to get exposed fully. When you're working, you interact with each other only for a short time. But when you are constantly in the staying in the same place, you cannot remain hidden. For that you will be totally exposed. You know what I take the courage out of? Oh, this is the time of my exposure. Let me show the best, so that it can create the impression of the whole life. Let other person feel so good about me, that becomes the life experience, because after that we will get busy too, but they will remember these moments. So the
beautiful.
crisis is also an opportunity to show your best.
Yeah. This leads into a question that someone posed. There are many lovely comments in the chat, but we have one person asking, hi, I've been trying to trust the path and process, but life can become overwhelming after a certain point. How do you manage to maintain and build that, quote, extra patience over time?
See, this is where we say the life is beautiful, but it becomes challenging, and actually that is what it is. What my faith actually is, whatever situation I am in, when I say it reaches to that point, actually that is the point where I am enclosed in a, we call it framework. Even in engineering, we create a framework. Framework actually is like a jail too. I'm constrained. And actually, it's like I am limited. I'm in a box. But this is the point of breaking out of the box. And you can never say enough is enough, because it is just when you take a stand. We know we take a stand when we reach our limit, we take a stand. But go back into your experience. Whenever I can see for myself, whenever I took a stand, even though I became victorious, but I lost something on the relationship. Relationship took a hit. Even a mouse will hit you back when you corner that mouse. But if you can, so there is a wall behind the mouse or the cat or anybody, any animal, they will want to run away from you as long as they can just run away from you means they can have a space. So that means if I can break that wall away, I am giving other person a space and I give myself a space. And that is how we call it breaking through my limits. So actually, if I really want to live my life, the life exists only beyond limits, above and beyond my capacity and my limits. Because what I do within my limit, it's only maintaining my life. It is kind of slow death because I'm dying slowly. It could be 60 years, 70 years, 80, 90, 20, but I am dying slowly. I'm maintaining my life. I'm maintaining my relationship. I am maintaining my job. I am maintaining everything, whatever I'm doing, but slowly I'm deteriorating. I'm getting
Mm,
old. That's why we always say I'm 60 years old or 70 years old. So I'm
mm,
becoming older and older. But the real thing is that when I say that I am doing something above and beyond my limits, and that is where we call it, we even engineering, we call it capital improvement. We have maintenance projects, maintenance repairs, and then we also have the capital improvement comes, I don't need it right now, but I am thinking of the future. My windows are very old. Sooner or later, they are going to start leaking. Let me change them now. So it will increase the value of the house. Let me change this thing. Let me change this thing. So that means for the capital improvement, you have to think far ahead.
mm,
You have to be insightful as well as far-sighted. You have to think beyond your present situation. So that is how you start to live. Think beyond that hurdle you're going through. Think of the things behind those hurdles. Think of the end. Like being an engineer, like we have the imagination that of the building, how it will look and all that. We are dreaming and we are imagining and little by little creating the concept and finally sell it to the people, to the end users, and then the construction happens. So in our life also, constantly living that dream. The dreams don't cost anything.
yeah.
Imagination doesn't cost anything. So, but keep on dreaming, but don't have one dream, one, two, three, four, five, six dreams. One dream comes to standstill, jump to the another one, another one. So live in the dreamland. And one or two dreams will definitely come true. So that.
So I know we're running out of time, but I want to ask a personal question.
Mhm.
You can choose not to answer,
Yeah.
but in all the times we've had these conversations, you and I've never thought to ask you this, but you're talking about that point.
Mhm.
And I've been very curious the last 20 minutes or so. Was there a point? I mean, you've been studying Raj Yoga meditation for 40 years.
Uh,
You're not 41.
uh-huh.
When did you decide to become a civil engineer? And when did that occur for you where you reached that point where you brought your spirituality to it? Was that a what's the word I'm looking for? Was
Penny
that a
drop,
juncture?
penny dropping, the penny dropping.
Yes.
See, actually, maybe some other time, but I became engineer because my brother was engineer, so I want to follow him. And it just happened. Civil engineering was the only thing which was available, so I took that branch.
Right.
So I did not have any particular plan about my life and all that. Then I stumbled into Brahma Kumaris because they came in our house. They stayed 3 months And I was able to see their practical life, and that was impressed by them. I started to just take that path, but still I had doubts, like as this gentleman saying that that's a but where is the point? I also started to be doubtful. Even I say, okay, I become peaceful, more peaceful, I go within. Then what I do with the peace? I could not think of other than that. Then I also found that no matter how the good the people look in the very beginning, like say even a girl and boy, they meet with each other, they show their best to each other, so they love each other, and then they get married. And as soon as they get married, they start to see what I have done for you, what you have done for me, now what you have done for me. So expectations begin. So that means that it reached to the climax. Then it start to go. I was worried about it. I say, I have taken this path of spirituality. What if I find after 10 years, oh, it was just one of the other place? It's not giving me anything. So I would have wasted my 10 years. But all of a sudden, I remember, I vividly remember it was 11, 12 o'clock at night. I could not sleep. I felt, just like a swimming pool, you hit and then you hit the floor. I have hit my forehead on the floor because I dived too far, in there. So I had to retrieve. But here I am dealing with ocean, unlimited. It's all up to me how deep I want to dive. God will never let me down. So that means I am dealing with the unlimited. It's all up to me. So I really started to work with the unlimited. And that is why even now people say plan your life. I say you can plan your life when the scope is limited. The scope is defined. Then you can plan. But if you are dealing with unlimited, then you cannot plan. Then you only start to do. Just keep doing without, and let it keep going out. Like throwing a pebble. Keep on creating those waves and waves and waves and waves. Continue. Other people will join you. And then in the unlimited way, we can build that world of happiness. There is no plan. How can you plan? Because I know anytime when we had projects, we used to have outlines. And then we started to say what is the objective, and then what is the like a scope, and based on that methodology, and then the conclusion, then how much time it will take. But it is defined. But when we think of all the, like, spiritual energy is unlimited, love is unlimited, truth is unlimited. So that is why that I just start from the least denominator, the lowest denominator of tiniest of a good action, and keep doing it without thinking what result it will bring. The real result will come instantly, and that will be you will have instant joy whenever you will do good, something above and beyond, something unexpected, or your some inner quality showing up, your inner ability showing up. That is the joy. That is how we say life is journey. There is no destination, because the destination keep on moving as we move, and it's a continuation. Life exists forever. So
Beautiful. And you can make those two things meet. Your profession, you can pull out spirituality anywhere, anytime, and it is contagious, even during a pandemic.
that's
So
right.
thank you for this. So I'm going to ask you now, it's almost 8 o'clock. Would you lead us in we usually
Yes.
conclude with a little meditative commentary. Would you do that for us before we say goodnight to all these lovely people?
Sure. How many minutes?
Oh, under
Huh?
5. How's that?
Yeah. Okay. 3 minutes.
Okay.
3 or 4.
4 or 5.
Just consider myself. I, the soul. I have this body. The body is surrounding me. And then outside of the body is the whole world. all the 5 elements, the air, the water, the heat, and with a critical combination and balance, they bring life to the body. They provide the life. They provide everything what is needed for the body to exist. And whenever the power of the soul gets reduced, love start to get mixed with hate or attachment. Determination turns into stubbornness. Faith turns into total, righteousness, self-righteousness. The power of the soul gets reduced. And when the internal power gets reduced, the external elements, they start to put pressure on the body. As we know, when I inhale, my stomach goes in because the force from outside just push me inside. And this is how I see when I exhale, my stomach goes in. When I inhale, my stomach becomes big. So we can see a very subtle balance. So here, my subtle balance is doing little bit extra, giving extra love to myself, accepting myself as I am, extra love to the people. And that spirituality, the power of spirituality, will provide that situation for us. In the midst of chaos, in the midst of fear, let me become that angel who, providing courage in the face of fear, provide faith in the time of uncertainty, and with good wishes, bringing about the change in the world. So I am the one bringing the change in the world, the change of chaos turning into a world of goodness and happiness. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Brother Ram, you are indeed the one who is inspiring all of us this evening to go out into the world with a new attitude, with an awareness of our own inner strength and energy and power. So thank you so much for giving us access to the wisdom this evening. And
thank you so much for listening.
Yeah. So I just want to announce very quickly that we have next week, in keeping with the theme of spiritual awareness to feel empowered and protected, our topic will be the master of your destiny. And just a last reminder that we do have Raja Yoga meditation classes online beginning on Monday, June 7th, this Monday at 7 p.m. And if you would like to register, please call Global Harmony House at 516-773-0971. 773-0971. So thank you all for coming this evening. Thank you, Brother Ram. Always wonderful to see you, and I'm glad you're here with us, happy and healthy, returned from India, and ours once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Om Shanti, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you, Ram. Thank you, Louise. And thank you, everybody, for attending our program tonight. We'll be here every Thursday Again, if you want to try the new course, or you know someone who'd like to learn a little meditation, be more like our brother Ram, give a call to Harmony House. We'll send you the note. You can register for the link. Registration is necessary. So Ram Prakash, if you want to take the introductory course again, you're quite welcome. Louise, anything that you want is great. But both of you, thank you very much for a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much, Brother Eric. Om Shanti, everyone.
Om Shanti. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
See you next week.